Let's get one thing straight right from the start. A woman's breast size has absolutely nothing to do with the quality, shape, or tightness of her vagina. None. And yet, this myth still floats around in conversations, locker rooms, and sadly, even in relationships. Too many people are misled by shallow assumptions, and those assumptions create insecurities that should not exist in the first place. Here's the truth. Female anatomy is far more complex and far more beautiful than these surface-level comparisons. Breast size is determined mostly by fat tissue and genetics, while vaginal health, elasticity, and sexual responsiveness depend on muscles, blood flow, hormonal balance, and overall wellness. They are two completely separate systems in the body. Believing otherwise not only spreads ignorance but also harms women's confidence. Think about this. Some of the most confident, sensual, and deeply connected women in intimate relationships have small breasts. Others have large breasts. Neither has a monopoly on sexual pleasure or attraction. What actually matters is how she takes care of herself, her pelvic floor strength, her hormonal health, her mental well-being, and her ability to be comfortable in her own skin. This is why education in urology, sexual health, and general wellness matters. A strong pelvic floor doesn't just support a healthy vagina, it also prevents urinary issues, improves circulation, and enhances overall vitality. Eating well, exercising, managing stress, and staying informed about one's body creates real sexual confidence. Not bra size, not cup size, not myths. So let's stop reducing women to these old, lazy stereotypes. Let's start talking more openly about the things that actually matter: vaginal health, self-care, communication and intimacy, and respect for the uniqueness of every woman's body. If you take anything from this, let it be this: confidence and care are sexier than any physical measurement. Don't let ignorance guide your beliefs. Learn, question, and respect the truth about the female body. And here's my call to you: whether you're a man or a woman, start breaking these myths in your own circles. Educate yourself, take responsibility for your health, and support your partner in theirs. When we replace ignorance with knowledge, we create better relationships, better intimacy, and better health for everyone. Breast size and vaginal health have nothing to do with each other, yet so many people still believe there is some hidden connection. When someone makes a comment about a woman's small breasts, meaning something about her vagina, they are repeating a myth that is not supported by anatomy, science, or real sexual experience. Breasts are made up of fat tissue, connective tissue, and milk ducts. Their size is determined almost entirely by genetics and to some extent by weight and hormones. Vaginas, on the other hand, are muscular canals that can expand and contract. They are influenced by pelvic floor muscles, blood flow, collagen levels, and hormonal balance. To claim that a cup size on the chest predicts anything about the vagina is as silly as saying the size of someone's hand determines the strength of their heart. The truth is that female anatomy is complex, beautiful, and unique to each woman. Two women may have the same breast size and completely different vaginal health. One might have excellent pelvic floor strength, giving her better sexual responsiveness and control, while another may struggle with weakness that affects sensation. None of that is related to the breast tissue above the chest. Men who believe otherwise are usually repeating something they heard without ever questioning it. Women who worry about this are often carrying unnecessary insecurity that was placed on them by a partner's careless comment or by society's obsession with body image. It is time to separate fact from fiction and give women back the confidence they deserve. When we look at how breasts develop, it becomes even clearer that the connection is false. During puberty, estrogen influences the growth of glandular tissue in the breast. Genetics decides how much fat gets stored there, and body weight can also play a role. This is why breast size can change with age, pregnancy, or weight fluctuation. Vaginal health does not follow the same rules. The muscles in the vagina adapt to childbirth, aging, and hormone shifts in ways that have nothing to do with breast size. A woman with small breasts can have a strong, healthy, responsive vagina. A woman with larger breasts can as well. The two are not connected in any direct or indirect way. Pelvic floor health is the key factor when it comes to vaginal tightness, elasticity, and sexual pleasure. These muscles can be trained and strengthened just like any other part of the body. Exercises like Kegels, yoga, and resistance training improve tone and blood circulation in the pelvic region. This directly impacts how the vagina feels during intimacy. No breast size in the world can influence whether these muscles are strong or weak. So when someone tries to judge a woman's sexual health based on her chest, they are missing the real science behind sexual function. This misunderstanding reduces women to stereotypes and distracts from what actually matters for health and intimacy. There's a common assumption floating around that a woman's breast size somehow predicts whether her vagina is tighter or looser. This idea gets thrown around like it's fact, but the truth is it's nothing more than a myth. Vaginal tightness has nothing to do with what's happening on the chest. The vagina is made of smooth muscle and connective tissue designed to stretch and return to its natural state. It adapts during sex, childbirth, and even hormonal changes, and how it feels depends on muscle tone, circulation, and pelvic floor health. Breasts, however, are made mostly of fat tissue and glandular tissue, which determines size. Linking these two different systems is like assuming eye color determines lung capacity. It simply doesn't add up. When you really think about it, the idea doesn't even make sense anatomically. Breast size is influenced by genetics, hormones, and body composition. A woman who gains or loses weight may see changes in her breasts, but that doesn't suddenly make her vagina tighter or looser. Vaginal tightness is far more connected to lifestyle, age, and pelvic strength. Women who actively work on their pelvic floor through exercise often experience more tone and better sensation. Those who neglect it may notice laxity, but again, that has nothing to do with their breasts. This is why two women with the same bra size could have completely different experiences when it comes to vaginal tone. The factors that shape one have no relationship to the other. Another part of the myth comes from people trying to oversimplify women's bodies, as if everything is controlled by one visible feature. But sexual health doesn't work that way. Vaginal tightness is about how strong and healthy the muscles are, not about how much tissue sits on the chest. A woman with small breasts may have an incredibly strong pelvic floor, while a woman with larger breasts may not, or vice versa. It all depends on the individual and how she maintains her health. Believing breast size is a shortcut to knowing vaginal tightness is not only wrong, it's harmful. It creates expectations that women shouldn't have to carry and confuses men into thinking they understand something they don't. The real truth is that vaginal tightness changes naturally throughout a woman's life. Hormones, childbirth, and even stress can affect how the pelvic muscles respond. A strong vaginal tone can be trained and restored, and many women actively take steps to improve it through exercises, good nutrition, and proper care. None of this has any connection to breast size. That's why relying on this myth does a disservice to both men and women. Men miss the chance to really learn about sexual health, and women are unfairly judged for something that doesn't matter. When we separate fact from fiction, we can see clearly that breast size tells us nothing about vaginal tightness, and what actually matters is care, health, and self-awareness. A woman's confidence in her sexuality does not come from the size of her breast. It comes from how she feels in her own body and how well she takes care of herself. When a woman invests in her health through movement, nutrition, and stress management, she radiates a type of confidence that no cup size can replace. This confidence is not about trying to fit an image or live up to a stereotype. It's about the way she carries herself, how she responds to touch, and how comfortable she feels in intimate moments. A woman who feels strong, nourished, and centered can be magnetic regardless of the number on her bra tag. Think about it. We've all seen women with different body types, yet the ones who stand out as the most attractive usually have one thing in common. They're comfortable in their skin. That kind of ease is not sold in a lingerie store, and it cannot be measured in inches. It comes from self-care. When a woman makes time to strengthen her body, balance her hormones, and manage her stress, her sexual energy flows naturally. She is more likely to enjoy intimacy because her body is not weighed down by insecurity or neglect. This has far more impact on her sexual confidence than breast size ever could. Men often misjudge what creates sexual allure in women. They may assume that larger breasts automatically equal more sex appeal, but this idea doesn't match real experience. Many men will admit that what draws them in is not the size of the breast, but the way a woman moves, her energy, her responsiveness, and the sense of presence she brings into the bedroom. All of those qualities are shaped by health and self-care. A woman who takes ownership of her well-being develops a natural glow, and that glow makes her desirable on a deeper level than physical proportions. That kind of attraction lasts far longer than the novelty of any body part. Confidence is also tied to awareness. A woman who knows her body, who understands her cycle, her desires, and her needs, steps into intimacy differently than someone who is unsure of herself. Breast size plays no role in this. What does play a role is the way she treats herself day to day. Eating in a way that supports her hormones, staying active to keep circulation strong, practicing relaxation techniques to manage stress. These are the habits that feed sexual energy. They don't just shape the way her body feels, they shape the way she connects with her partner. That connection becomes powerful and undeniable when paired with true confidence. The pelvic floor is one of the most overlooked parts of the body, yet it plays a central role in sexual health and overall wellness. These are the muscles that support the bladder, uterus, and rectum, and they wrap around the vaginal canal like a sling. When these muscles are strong, they create elasticity and responsiveness during sex. When they're weak, a woman may notice changes in sensation, less control, or even issues with bladder leakage. None of this is related to breast size, and yet it has everything to do with the quality of a woman's sexual experience. A toned pelvic floor means more pleasure, more control, and more confidence. One of the reasons the pelvic floor is so powerful is because it directly influences blood flow to the vaginal area. Good circulation is essential for arousal, lubrication, and sensitivity. Women with strong pelvic muscles often report more intense orgasms and a stronger connection to their bodies during intimacy. On the flip side, when these muscles are neglected, sex can feel less satisfying, and recovery after childbirth or with age may be more difficult. That's why understanding and training the pelvic floor is a game changer. It's not about how the body looks from the outside, it's about how well the body functions from the inside. Strengthening the pelvic floor is something any woman can do, and it doesn't require special equipment or complicated routines. Simple exercises like Kegels, when done correctly, can build muscle tone and improve control. Yoga, Pilates, and certain types of strength training also engage these muscles in natural ways. Over time, this kind of training improves vaginal elasticity, increases sensation, and even reduces the risk of prolapse or urinary incontinence. This is real sexual health rooted in science, not in myths about physical appearance. Women who practice pelvic floor exercises often notice a difference not just in the bedroom, but in their overall confidence as well. The pelvic floor also responds to lifestyle choices. Chronic stress, poor posture, or lack of exercise can weaken these muscles over time. Hormonal shifts after childbirth or during menopause can also have an impact, but again, this is something that can be improved with care and training. The key is awareness. Many women go through life without ever thinking about these muscles, yet they hold so much potential for sexual pleasure and physical health. By paying attention to this area, a woman can take back control over her body and her experience, rather than feeling like it's something left to chance. Attraction is often misunderstood because people get caught up in surface details instead of what truly makes a person desirable. Myths like connecting breast size to sexual ability or vaginal tightness fall into this shallow way of thinking. Real attraction runs deeper, and it is tied to energy, confidence, and the way two people connect with each other. When you're with someone who feels secure in their own body, who shows up fully present, and who communicates openly, the physical details matter less. What you notice most is the feeling you get from being with them. That feeling creates a bond that goes beyond any stereotype. Many men who claim to prefer certain body types eventually discover that what keeps them hooked is not the size of a woman's chest or hips, but the way she makes them feel during intimacy. Attraction grows when a woman is engaged, when she responds with authenticity, and when she is comfortable in her skin. This kind of allure cannot be manufactured or measured with a tape. It's not about how she looks standing in front of a mirror, but how she makes her partner feel when they are close. That's why relying on myths like breast size is misleading. It distracts people from noticing what really creates desire. Women who internalize these myths often feel unnecessary pressure, thinking they need to look a certain way to be attractive. But in reality, what men and women both value most in intimacy is connection. A woman with small breasts who is confident, playful, and emotionally open will always be more captivating than someone with a body that fits a stereotype but carries insecurity. Attraction is about chemistry, and chemistry cannot be built on assumptions. It comes from trust, curiosity, and the willingness to show up fully. These qualities are far more powerful than anything on the surface. Sexual attraction is also shaped by how well partners communicate. The ability to talk about desires, boundaries, and needs creates intimacy that body measurements never could. When a woman expresses herself openly and a man listens, the connection deepens, and that depth is what makes sex fulfilling. The myth that body parts dictate attraction takes the focus away from communication and places it on comparison, which erodes real intimacy. People who understand this find that their sex lives improve not by chasing an image, but by building stronger bonds with their partners. That is the difference between shallow attraction and lasting desire. Education is the single most powerful tool when it comes to sexual health and intimacy. Too many myths about the female body exist because people never learn how it truly works. They repeat rumors, pass down old beliefs, and spread misinformation that only causes confusion and insecurity. Breast size being linked to vaginal health is one of those myths, and it sticks because people lack real knowledge. When men and women take the time to understand anatomy, hormones, and sexual function, they not only erase these false ideas but also create stronger and healthier relationships. Knowledge becomes the foundation of confidence, both in oneself and in a partner. When a woman knows her body, she can care for it in ways that improve her health and her sexual experience. She learns how her cycle affects her energy, how her pelvic floor supports her, and how her mental health influences her desire. This awareness allows her to step into intimacy with confidence instead of doubt. Education gives her the tools to separate who she really is from what society has told her to be. Men benefit in the same way. When a man understands that vaginal tightness, arousal, and pleasure come from muscles and blood flow rather than appearance, he approaches his partner with more respect. He learns to focus on what actually matters rather than judging by the surface. This kind of knowledge also shifts the way couples communicate. Instead of avoiding sensitive topics out of embarrassment, they can speak openly about needs, preferences, and changes in their bodies. A couple that understands how sexual health really works is less likely to fall into shame or misunderstandings. They build intimacy not on false expectations, but on trust and openness. This makes sex not only more enjoyable, but also more meaningful. Education gives language to experiences that people often keep silent about, and once those conversations open up, the relationship grows stronger. General wellness education ties into this as well. Learning about nutrition, stress management, and physical activity all feed into sexual vitality. The body does not work in isolated parts. When a woman eats well, moves regularly, and takes care of her mental health, her sexual health improves too. Men who do the same notice better stamina, stronger erections, and more energy for intimacy. Sexual education is not just about sex. It's about caring for the whole body so it can perform and respond at its best. Myths collapse when people start seeing health as an interconnected system instead of separate pieces.